Hey, there's Torah in 2 minutes-ish. There's a lot of talk about in this society, about how do you find out if a crime's been committed when an accusation reaches you? How do you investigate it properly? And conveniently enough, the Torah deals with just that question just this week. Before the famous scene of Abraham arguing with God, there's a scene where God says, the cry that has reached me from Sodom and Amorah is great. In other words, there's a report that has reached God that God wants to investigate. Doesn't question how the report got to him, just says, given the report, I'm going to investigate. It's theologically problematic. How does God not know these things? But that's what the Torah says. And God says to Abraham, I'm going to go down and I'm going to see whether or not things are as it's been told to me. V'imlo ada. And if not, I'm going to know it. So that's the key thing. God says, I'm going to go down and find out. And if not, then I'm going to know it. Does God not know these things? Rashi, the great commentator, says, of course God knows these things, but really it's an instructional moment. It's an instructional moment that Rashi says, that this is to teach that future judges, should never judge capital cases, except based on visual evidence, eyewitness evidence. That's for capital cases, when a life is literally in the balance. The point, though, is that whenever possible, you have to go on, Torah says, on eyewitness testimony. That's why God sort of sacrifices some of God's dignity, as it were, to act as if God doesn't know and say, I have to investigate, in order to make the point that it's important to investigate. Get eyewitness testimony if possible. That, of course, means that the court has to be able to compel eyewitness testimony and not be stonewalled. But both of these things at once. That you have to investigate, not go with your pre-existing opinion, but go with what the evidence is. And that a good court system can compel that sort of testimony. It's an important point. God sacrifices some of God's dignity to teach us that criminal inquiries have to be thorough. That's the essence of it, because it is super important for any functioning society to have a functioning court system. Shabbat shalom.